No.
A couple of really effective return guys in Marqise and
Yeah.
Anthony in this game, but they're built so differently. Are there different ways they go about being effective as return guys?
No, I think it's a little different in the return game, but they're both very elusive. They got outstanding speed, and the other problem with USC's return game is that Woods is the other returner. So, trying to kick away from him, I don't think is you're kicking it either to 2 or 9, and those are the two guys you probably don't want with the ball. But to win, especially on the road in this league, you got to play great on teams. So that's going to be a huge factor in terms of what we do. And Nickel Roby's a real good punt returner too, and another, part of their game that I think they're really good at is kickoff returns and punt returns. And spent a lot of time on it this week, and we'll see how it goes.
Keenan Lowe's a guy who's returned some kicks because it seems like people probably don't want to go to D'Anthony. How's he handled that?
I think Keenan's done a really nice job. I think in everything he's done this year, whether it's really playing at a high level at the wide receiver spot or being the other kick returner along with D'Anthony. I think he's done a really nice job. He did a really nice job for us, especially in the Arizona State game when they kicked it away from him. Got us out past the 30 each time. So real confident in him too.
And last thing, now that there's a bigger sample size, do you think that the kickoff rules have dramatically changed the way teams are dealing with those plays?
I don't. I really don't. And I think if you can get it to the end zone, people are trying to get it to the end zone. But I think a lot of people thought that was just going to be every kick was going to go to the end zone, and that hasn't been the case. So I'm sure if we could, we would kick it out of the end zone every play this week. But I don't know if we can kick it out of the end zone. So got to play where it goes.
Chip, how do you balance? Obviously, your offense is so much based on the tempo, but how do you balance a 2-minute drill situation using timeouts to save clock versus keeping the offense going and keeping the flow of the offense going?
You just work off of what the clock is. I mean, you'd have to ask me a specific question, but we don't go into it saying, we obviously know when the ball's under 2 minutes that, sometimes time is more important than yardage. But again, what do you need? Do you need a field goal? Are you already in field goal range? Then all of a sudden you don't worry about getting out of bounds. You worry about trying to get the ball down the field. So there's so many different scenarios. You just can't generically say it's this as opposed to that.
In last year's game, in that final drive, did you feel like when you look back at it that you should have used timeouts earlier in the game or earlier in that drive?
No, we lined up to kick a 37-yarder, which we knew we were in field goal range. We were trying to take shots at the end zone. So
the whole Flint, Michigan thing kind of blew up on Twitter yesterday. Where were you actually born?
Dover, New Hampshire.
Dover, New Hampshire. Okay.
That's why Twitter's no good.
I think it was Wikipedia.
Will Murphy,
throw both of them in there.
Will Murphy, what stood out about him this senior year, kind of earning his spot? Seems like each week he's progressed more and more.
Yeah, Murph's practiced real well since last spring, and he's just been very consistent in terms of what he's done. So, I think you've seen it. He played real well in the Washington State game and other games, really being productive. And we feel like we got 6 receivers. We got Will and Keenan, we got Huff and Stanford, and we got Addison and Hawkins. So we just roll all those guys through.
You've said it's a good thing that you haven't had to worry about kicking a late game field goal or anything like that because of the way you've won these games. But what's the confidence level still at this point if you have to kick a game-winning field goal this year?
Well, we'll kick it. I mean, I'm not going to not kick it. Well, because I didn't have confidence, we're going to line up and kick it. So
how are the guys doing in those situations in practice?
They do well, but practice and games are different, and you're never going to find out until you get into those situations. But there's nothing you can do, and we're not going to go into a game saying, hey, we're not going to kick a field goal now. I mean, we got confidence to kick field goals. Unfortunately, we're on a team that scores a lot of touchdowns, so we don't have to kick field goals. But I'll take that over saying, hey, we need to really work on a clutch situation. You just got to play the game the way it expresses itself. And if you start nitpicking and going through, well, hey, in this game we didn't get a chance to get into a 2-minute drive, I think anybody in the country would trade not having to be in a 2-minute drive as opposed to being in a 2-minute drive. So, thanks, guys.